Book got me speaking engagements. Speaking engagements put me in front of people. And you don't need more money, you need more people. Hey, this is Coach Michael Burt. Welcome to another edition of the Coach's Locker Room. I actually said another edition. This is my first edition of a new podcast I have called the Coach's Locker Room. I'm here at the Greatness Factory of Nashville in this beautiful studio. And I'm like, man, I got to put that studio to work. I got to get that from being a show horse to a plow horse, because that's who I am, right? Coach Michael Burt, America's Coach. You can find all of my podcasts under America's Coach. All of these will go to YouTube as well, but anywhere where you live stream podcast, you can go and you can find America's Coach. I'm actually doing 3 different podcasts right now. One called Flip the Switch on my book, Pray Drive, The Instinct to Pursue. One called The Coach's Locker Room around my brand new book called The Making of a Coach. And one called Lessons from the Lodge, 30 plus years of coaching some of the top people in the world and some of the wisdom I've garnered from that. But on this podcast, we're doing the Coach's Locker Room. And I have a coaching program called the Coach's Locker Room, and it's where I coach people in a residency style program. I take 30 at a time. I coach those people through how to speak, coach, train, lead, publish, strategic partner, generate thousands of leads, build a multi-million-dollar coaching company. And so today on this podcast, I'm going to break down what's called a story of origin. Okay, all of this is in the brand new book, The Making of a Coach. I'm doing a free masterclass on this April 22nd. The afternoon of April 22nd. So for everybody who buys the book, I think it's $14.95, gets the shipping. You get an hour-and-a-half coaching session with me. You can go to coachburt.com right now, click on The Making of a Coach, get this book, and it's set up like a workbook, folks. So it's a workbook. You work on a page. I was going through this study of Peter in the Bible, and it was like a workbook like this. Alan Jackson did that at World Outreach, and I thought, now that is a cool book. I want a book I can write in. So The Making of a Coach gives you a big concept. There's 12 big concepts in the book, and then it breaks it down to where you can work on this. So today in the Coach's Locker Room, I'm going to go back to an original story of origin. And a story of origin is a time in your life. This is a story that a speaker or coach would tell over and over and over. And it goes back to a moment in time where there was a big revelation. A revelation is a sudden, dramatic moment. So if you're out there watching me right now on Instagram, or you're watching this on podcast, or you're listening to this, a great story of origin goes back to a moment in time when something dramatic happened. If you ever hear me talk about this, it's like, hey, I was raised by a single mom. I grew up in a small town of Woodbury, Tennessee, and my single mom had me when she was 16 years old. She was really a kid, having a kid, and mom used to take me down to the local baseball field. And at the baseball field, it was one woman. It was really odd because there was a female coach coaching Little League Baseball. She was kind of a tomboy named Mickey Vincent, and Mickey Vincent tended to me. She cared for me. She fed me while my mom was working 2 jobs. And it was there that I had a big revelation. Sudden, dramatic moment. And the sudden, dramatic moment was a good coach can change a person's life. Imagine having that revelation at 6 years old. And a good coach tends to and stewards other people's potential. A good coach accelerates. A good coach does all these things. So this was my personal big revelation. Everybody needs a coach in life. Many years later, I would go on to write a book called Everybody Needs a Coach. And now just came out with this book called The Making of a Coach. Like, I mean, a real coach. A lot of people in the world, 700,000 people in the world call themselves a coach. Folks, we all know. If you're watching this on Instagram, if you're watching this on anything, the average income of those coaches is $47,000 a year. There's something they don't know how to do. They don't know how to find their X factor. They don't know how to package their X factor. They don't know how to market their X factor. They don't know how to monetize, which is my special skill set, packaging and monetization. So I developed the Coach's Locker Room to show people how to take a concept, a simple concept, build out an entire program around it, make millions of dollars with it. Speaking, coaching, training, leading. But a lot of it starts with this story of origin. So a story of origin was there's a big revelation, sudden dramatic moment. Because of the revelation, you now have a conviction. And a conviction is a deep-seated belief in something. So once I had this revelation, everybody needs a coach in life. It's like, boom, now I'm going to go around the world and I'm going to Tell people, man, everybody needs a coach in life. I'm going to become a coach, which is exactly what I did. And if you know my story, started coaching at 15 years old. I was coaching at 18 years old at a small elementary school. By 22, I was the head coach at the second largest high school in Tennessee. I was studying under a guy named Dr. Stephen Covey. Covey wrote the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I became fascinated with personal development. I was started to win games by my 3rd year being the head coach. And then people kept asking, what are you doing? What are you doing with them kids? What they kept saying. And I said, man, I ain't got time to explain it. So I started writing books. First, Changing Lives Through Coaching. We don't sell that book anymore. Second book, Inspirational Leader. Third book, This Ain't No Practice Life. Because I was a coach. You only get so many days on planet Earth. Boom. That one started to get some traction. So here's the story of origin. Wrote the book. Had a demonstrated capacity. Wrote the book. Book got me speaking engagements. Speaking engagements put me in front of people. And you don't need more money. You need more people. The people have the money. I would go speak, maybe for free, maybe to push my book, not even thinking. And people say, will you come coach my people? Next thing you know, I'm getting asked to speak more. Every one speaking engagement was producing 6 more speaking engagements. And some people in those rooms had money. And they're like, I want you to coach my people. And I asked one dude, what do you want me to do with your people? And he said, I want you to infect our people with your enthusiasm. Enthusiasm means God within, by the way. And I go, boom, I'm in. Started signing 6-figure contracts. I went on to win a championship. That would be the first of 7 championships, or actually the first of 8 championships at that school called Riverdale High School. I retired at 31 years old and started what has now become a multi-million-dollar coaching company, and then founded this Greatness Factory, which is the first of many. That is conviction. Conviction is persistence. Conviction is long obedience in the same direction. So I had a big revelation. This is part of the story of origin. What is your story of origin? Because of the revelation, the sudden dramatic moment, everybody needs a coach in life. I now have a conviction. See, when I am selling my coaching, it's like, man, you got a lot of passion. No, I have a lot of conviction. I am convicted that coaching can change your life. I am convicted that everybody needs a coach in life. I am convicted that it would be foolish to go through life without somebody trying to help you. So that is conviction. Because of the conviction, step 3 of the story of origin, I now have a lot of action. I now take a lot of action as a result of the conviction, as a result of the revelation. So when I'm looking at speakers and coaches, and I don't critique a lot of speakers and coaches because it's not my place to critique them. And people ask me, well, how do you think I did? And what I'm looking for really, man, is have you had a big revelation? Do you have a demonstrated capacity? Do you have a lot of conviction? Do you deliver it? So I don't consider myself a speaker first. I consider myself a coach that speaks. So when you see me speak or people book me to speak, they know I'm going to come in there and boom, I'm going to hit it hard. 33 years, deep conviction. So a story of origin goes back in time. So let's go back to my story, because people ask me, how did you do this? Like when I wrote The Making of a Coach, I wrote it because I have this program, this residency called the Coach's Locker Room. And the Coach's Locker Room is where I spend a year with 30 people, taking them through the business of speaking, coaching, training, leading, publishing. And they say, well, how did you get into this? I've always wanted to do that. And I go, well, I first built a primary skill: communication, activation of prey drive, inner engineering, building competitive intelligence. And I did that by being a championship coach, by being a real coach. Then I started to codify. Some people say codify my methods. Let's use another word: deconstruct. I started to deconstruct. How did I do this? What did I do? And then I began to start to build intellectual property. First, it was a book. It wasn't podcast in those days. I had a simple book I published on Instant Publisher. My Aunt Mitzi helped me, who knew how to produce things. I printed 1,000 copies because you had to buy 1,000 copies in those days. And I went door to door and tried to sell that book. And nobody wanted to buy the book. And I'm like, one guy said, man, coaches don't want to change people's lives. They just want to coach people. I still remember like it was yesterday. And I'm like, no, dude, the good coaches change people's lives. And I concocted ways to get the book in people's hands, but to really let me go do the presentation. Out of every major contract I have ever signed, with corporations. Out of every person that has ever enrolled in my coaching programs, many times the number one place that came from was from a speaking engagement. They saw me speak. The big contract I have right now with the mortgage company, they saw me speak. That guy can help us. But what if I didn't codify this? What if I didn't have a method? What if I didn't have a demonstrated capacity? What if I hadn't put all this together? What if I didn't put it into books and programs and packaging and masterclasses and online academies? What if I didn't have the intellectual property? What if I didn't package this into something people can absorb? So here's the formula. So first we got this story of origin, and the story of origin says I had a big revelation. I want you thinking about you. When was your big revelation? Boom, sudden dramatic moment. I now have conviction. I got to get into action. So this is called going from mental creation to physical action. Physical action for me was to write a book. I didn't know how to write a book. I didn't have a publisher. I didn't know how to sell a book. I didn't know how to do anything. I went from, okay, I've had a little bit of success, not a lot. I wasn't John Wooden. Rick Insell used to say, man, you're Jimmy Naismith. He said, you didn't invent basketball. I said, I know, man, but I know how to talk about this. And so I write a book, and I go, I got to get this book out into the marketplace. Books do not sell themselves. Publishers do not sell books. I didn't even have a publisher. But I said, what can I do? I need to go out and talk. I need to go out and give a presentation. I need to go out and get in front of people. You don't need more money. You need more people. The people have the money. So one of the number one things I did, I started to do programs. Now, fast forward a few years. My neighbor was a motivational speaker. Gail Stoner, shout out to Gail, and I walked over to his house from my little 2-bedroom condo I paid $119,000 for, and I knocked on the door and I said, Mr. Stoner, sounds kind of a funny name, and I said, I understand you're a motivational speaker. I would like to be a speaker. What do I need to do? And he said, well, you need to go work for a company like SkillPath. And I'm like, well, what's SkillPath? Fred Pryor, Career Track, SkillPath. Largest provider of seminars in the country. He said they do 3,000 seminars a month on personal development. And he's like, you need a video. So I called a professor at my college, Middle Tennessee State University, and I said, I'd like to come over and give a presentation to your students. He said, I would love to have you. Love to have you. And I'm like, boom. I did a presentation. I think there was a smart aleck in the back that critiqued it. I had a camera. I filmed it. I sent it to SkillPath. They said, we want you to come to Kansas City. I go to Kansas City and I present, and they said, you're hired. We're sending you out on the road. I did 60 dates in 2 years. Listen to this part, folks, because it's the part people miss. They paid me $250 per day with a $40 per diem. $250 a day, $40 to eat on. And that is how I started in the speaking business. 60 of those in a year. First couple places, guess what? First couple places, 4 people were there. 6 people were there. I remember going to Florence, Alabama. They put me in the break room. I said, where are we doing the training at today? They said, in the break room. In the break room, had a screen like the screen behind me. Wasn't fancy like this. It was ripped down the middle. I coached for 8 hours. I'd get in my car, no GPS, no Google Maps, go to the next city, do it again, do it again, do it again. One of the best things I ever did. I learned how to connect to an audience. I learned how to come up with a message quick. I learned how to teach other people's content because I didn't have my own content. And then after 60 of those, 60, notice I didn't say 6, notice I didn't say 5, notice I didn't practice 1 or 2 times. After 60 of those, I go, I think I can do this. I'm going to write my own books. I'm going to do my own seminars. I'm going to go pro. I'm going to take this thing to the next level. So this was my story of origin in the speaking business. The speaking led to coaching. The coaching led to products. The products led to more publishing, licensing. Now I'm doing big commercial real estate plays, retreat centers around the country. And it all started with one concept, changing lives through coaching. And it all came back to 6 years old on a baseball field, me having a big revelation that everybody needs a coach in their life. There's millions of people out there that are going to listen to this podcast and go, I've always wanted to speak. I've always wanted to coach. I've always wanted to train. How did that dude do it? Okay, this is why I built the Coach's Locker Room. This is why I do the Michael Burt School of Speaking, Coaching, and Writing. This is why I do Package Your Purpose tour around the country. You have something valuable. But it is only valuable when you name it, and when you package it, and when you learn to market it, and when you learn to take it to the world. This ain't business, this is show business. And if you don't get that, you're going to be the best unknown coach in America. And I'm telling you, a real famous person told me that one day. You would know him. You listen to his podcast. He said, if you don't learn how to market yourself, son, you're going to be the best unknown coach in America. And I said, no, sir. I'm going to become America's coach because I am hungry, humble, and teachable. So if you're out there and you're listening to this podcast called The Coach's Locker Room, I want you to go to my website and I want you to say, man, I want to book something with Coach Burt. I want to go to the Michael Burt School of Speaking, Coaching, and Writing. It's a 2-day event. I want to go to Package Your Purpose. I'm on tour right now. I'm coming to Michigan, Atlanta, Georgia. Where else? Detroit, Traverse City, West Palm Beach, Atlanta. Like, I'm coming to cities around the country. Just book a ticket and come just spend some time with me. And I promise you, we will help you find, package, market, and monetize. And for the real players out there, you're like, I just want to bump up to that Coach's Locker Room. There's a new pod starting. I think it starts next week. I got to get you in the room to get you going. I can't help you till you commit to something. Once you commit, we're not in the business of helping people fail, but it's got to be a vested partnership because I believe everybody needs a coach in life. Hour and a half free webinar on this on the 22nd. Go get the book right now at coachburt.com. It's $14.95. Get you an hour and a half coaching session with me, and we're charging $15 to $25,000 a day to book the Money Lab with me. So get in there and let's get you rolling. I believe everybody needs a coach in life, and you got a song to sing, and you got people to sing that song too. So let's go.